Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. Cricket is particular. We talk about the Pakistan and England concluded T20 international series where England beat Pakistan in the final T20 and have won the series 2-0. Two matches were won by rain, two by England, none by Pakistan. Simple as that. But then again, like I said, that we weren't result oriented. We wanted to, see some changes. We had a bit of them yesterday, we can say, where Babar and Rizwan opened the innings and of course Saim did not play. Usman came at number 3 and somewhat I think it worked in his favour as well. But then again, Pakistan's bowling has been a critical question mark. I think the only positive you could see was that Haris was bowling pretty well, but these conditions won't be replicated once you go to the USA and West Indies, so that's going to be an exception for you as well. Azam Khan's case now is becoming a bit of a frustration for Pakistan. Yesterday as well, he was not in the game, he was visibly frustrated, he was disappointed. If you talk about the keeping as well, batting as well, certain things. Shadab Khan also in all sorts of trouble in terms of bowling. He was bowling well, but then again, I think immediately once Bairstow put the charge on him, he had absolutely no clue. We got to talk about this, I think, in detail, and the fact that where are we going with this one now. If Pakistan do tend to go with this combination, if they do want to play Usman and if they think that they want to play Saim, then Azam Khan looks to be the likely candidate who does not get a place in the World Cup. But for me, I think on a visible perspective, as far as the visual medium we can judge and the game as well technically, I am clearly disappointed. I have been a fan of Azam Khan to some extent. I have believed in certain abilities, but then again, that was the patch where he was recovering and he had worked a lot on himself, and this is way before the PSL when I saw a lot of improvement in him. I was following his fitness journey as well, but then again immediately things went into reverse. So I don't understand what has happened in the past 1 or 2 years, but it is a serious question mark on behalf of Pakistan cricket. I understand people would give me examples of Raheem Cornwell, but that is a different case. I don't see that happening. Then we of course move on and we discuss the ICC Men's T20 World Cup as well. Warm-up fixtures are becoming very, very interesting. Pakistan squad is up there as well. Pakistan's campaign also starts. We'll talk about that. The Pakistan-India game is very hyped up in Dallas. Pakistan team has already departed for Dallas as well. So we'll talk about that in detail. So there's a lot to put into perspective as far as the World Cup is concerned. So discussing this, time now to introduce our guest in studios. First of all, we've been joined by cricket commentator. He's an international broadcaster, presenter, and he's our sports expert as well, K. Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm perfect. Thank you very much.
If you want me to mention that you're a wicket keeper, I think I can mention that, but still you and Azam Khan have no comparison. So don't try to say that, I always will have you in my playing 11. I don't know what Pakistan wants. But also joining us is first-class cricketer, cricket expert and analyst, somebody who understands the game in and out, Kashif Majid. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. We've also been joined by cricket expert Umar Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Umar. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us as well. K. Asif, your thoughts on last night's game? I don't think there's much to say, but obviously there was one change that did happen. That was Usman finally got game time. Otherwise, if you look at on the other end, if I was just judging the body language of our players, there seemed to be a lot of confusion in the ranks.
Well, I think complete dominance from English side. Talk about their batting, talk about their bowling, their fielding. Each and everything was perfect. The player of the match, Adil Rashid, got 2 wickets and he has taken 2 catches as well. So catches, win matches. This is how they performed. Let's talk about the Pakistani batters. That the people who always criticize Babar Azam and Rizwan. And you always raise this point that whenever Babar and Rizwan, they don't play 15, 16 overs, Pakistan struggles. And this is what happened last night once again. That even Pakistan was not able to play full overs. And in the middle order once again, Fakhar Zaman collapsed. Usman Khan, somehow he was looking good. But I want him to play at least, full overs. Try to go till the end. It's not your innings, making 38 runs quickly with the strike rate of 180. And then thank you very much that your responsibility has been ended. No, not at all. And then the case of Azam Khan, you said that it has been closed. For me, I had this discussion earlier with Kashif and on the night of final where we lost actually. Sorry, I don't want to go in the details. I was discussing about Azam Khan, and my perspective perspective is pretty much clear that still he has to work on his technique. He is not an international stuff. This is what we have observed from last 10-15 games. We're giving him chances, and the guys who are trying to make him a hero, they're just putting over the X that he scored fastest 206s. Let's talk about the international cricket. What's going on there? So Azam Khan and then Shadab Khan, he was okay in the bowling, but once again that, when we talk about the Pakistani top-notch bowlers, a comparison of the fast bowling, Mark Wood and then Chris Jordan. If you see their speed and their economy, the speed was around 130 to 145. Mark Wood was, sometime he has touched 147.
Exceptional short bowling from Mark Wood.
Yes, that was brilliant bowling from him. And the economy was under 9, but somehow 8.5. But if you see the Pakistani fast bowlers, including Naseem Shah and Amir and Haris Rauf, even Haris Rauf has taken 3 wickets. But the economy is over 10. This is a question mark when you know that Pakistan is always famous for their bowling, not for the batting. And if the bowlers are not performing well, and right before the World Cup, they're beaten, badly by the Phil Salt. Talk about Josh Butler.
Will Jacks. Will Jacks as well. The way he was taking the ball to the clear. I understand the perspective that Asif is bringing, but he could have said the night of Monday. Saying the night of the final means that he's on an agenda. But I'm sure that I have my fans as well who are going to come to my aid. But Kashif, this bowling particularly is something that we will be discussing in detail. I'm sure you'll have your perspective of it as well. But once you see last night's game, what do you analyze going into the World Cup now? The team's already departed.
Look, Ahmed, for me, the series against England is not something to cherish about, but simultaneously it's not something which will define our performance in the Caribbean and the USA, because when we talk about the Caribbean and America, that is USA, the pitches, the atmosphere will, and the the boundary ropes, the dimension of the boundary ropes, it's entirely different. So let's think that we are playing in the Caribbean, and let's find out the players who can negate spin very well, because that will be plenty of spin in Caribbean. And I'm not sure about America. They are the drop-in pitches, and let's find out from where they have taken that soil, and what
Australia,
is the what is the combination and the contribution of different variables.
If it's from
in
Australia, that means that there is more of clay content in the pitch.
Yes.
I think simple as that.
And simultaneously, when we talk about the atmosphere where you drop that pitch, that plays a very important role.
Yes.
And with the winds and all those storms, I still believe that those wickets won't be that hard what we see in the Australia. So most probably the Caribbean, and slightest change to the Caribbean, but the USA pitches will be like the Caribbean, because this is the same bed we are talking about. So if this is the case, then we have to look at our team at an entirely different angle and different perspective, because let's talk about playing spin. Babar Azam, yes, good. Rizwan with his slog speed, yes, good. Most probably, I don't want to say, but Azam Khan can contribute there, because there won't be pace, there won't be short pitch stuff on his body, and there is not bowlers who won't bite, who have got the bite of the wicket. So he can be, but most importantly, Usman can play spin well, and so does Shadab can play spin well. So most probably our batting is secured there, but the most important thing is, can our bowlers ball spin well on those surfaces, because that is the most important aspect when we talk about our team, the bowling, and especially the spin bowling, starting from this over 7th to over 15th. Let's hope this can be the case, that our spinners can do the wonders out there. Importantly, we have played there, Shadab have played there, Imad is a good player in CPL, so does Amir. So most probably we have got things covered, but right now things do look gloomy.
I think he was keeping the best for last. That is the case. Umar, last night's performance, like I said, I won't gauge it as a result-oriented thing, but I need to look at certain players now. Like I said, Azam Khan is becoming a bit of a frustration. Shadab's not in the form. Fast bowling is being taken to the cleaners. Pakistan's combinations, once again, we're stuck on that 150-60 mark. We're not accelerating beyond that. How would you analyze this, considering that the team is now en route to USA?
First of all, it was very disappointing to see Pakistan like that. We saw the old pair of Babar and Rizwan, and we saw the consistency instantly coming back, scoring 59 runs before Babar got out. And after that, Pakistan was in a disarray. And this is what we've seen most of the time that till Babar and Rizwan are on the crease, Pakistan is a whole different batting unit. And after that, if someone clicks, that's a different story. Otherwise, we're like falling like cards. And that's exactly what happened. The batting, Usman was a bit promising. Then again, Fakhr came in, hit a six, got out. Shadab gone for duck, Azam gone for duck. But then again, these conditions of England are quite, difficult for Pakistani players. There's no excuse. Of course, they're professionals. They should be playing in any conditions. They won the Champions Trophy at the same ground. But any batsman who's getting out before facing 5 to 10 deliveries, I think it's a bit unfair to judge them. The way they got out, of course, is something we can talk about. But if a batsman gets going and then throws his wicket, that's when you can criticize him. So many players, they get out on zero. It's part of the game. But then again, the playing 11 should now be looked at. Conditions, of course, as my fellow said here, in West Indies and America would be much different than England. But in the warm-up game, West Indies just scored 250 against Australia, and that was also played in West Indies. So we never know. We saw the South Africa series against West Indies, and over there we saw high-scoring games. So on the given day, I think Pakistan has to figure out what their batting combination should be. Yesterday, Imad was not in the 11, maybe because of the seamers. But then again, our seamers did not do a good job. If you look at how the English batsmen hit us for sixes, those were short balls on waist length. Whereas if you watch Chris Jordan and Mark Wood, their bouncers were touching the shoulders. Only Haris was the only bowler who bowled good bouncers, and he was the most successful one, got 3 wickets. So I think Pakistan has to work on their lengths. Amir bowling at 130, your bouncers, they'll hit you out all day out of the park. Even Shaheen. So the lengths were not right, the slower ones were not used right. It was something that Pakistan need to take to the drawing board and work, because this is the squad. We can't change the squad. All we can do is learn from our mistakes, and we don't have time. So it's now or never.
Well, I understand. I think the fact is that you only had these 4 games, and I would have preferred that instead of this series, maybe you would have travelled a bit earlier. And even if there was an opportunity for warm-up matches or even an intra-squad match, I would have preferred that more over this series. But then again, any kind of cricket is better. But like we discussed this before as well, we don't want them to fall into a confusion, a whirlpool of confusion where they don't understand how to get out of it as well. And that certainly for now seems to be the case as well. But Asif, I think particular things need to be discussed one by one. First of all, considering the entire team combination and the 15-member squad, in your honest and technical opinion, what's the best way forward for Pakistan as far as let's discuss it one by one, like I said, the opening is concerned?
Well, I think that you'd have to give chance to Saim Ayub, and I think Saim and Rizwan and then Babar Azam are number 3, because if with this kind of performances, if Azam is playing, I think that you should give equal opportunities to Usman, Azam and Saim. Yeah, and the second thing is that I do not agree with my respected colleagues, as Kashif Bhai and Umar Bhai was talking about that the CPL, they're giving the examples of the league. See, there's a huge difference between international cricket and this franchise cricket. So when we talk about that, what's the solution now? The solution is that if Saim is playing, that once again, I'm not sure that either he would be okay, because he is under immense pressure, and he didn't play well, he didn't perform well. He didn't perform according to our expectations.
But if you have Saim at the opening spot, that means that Babar is your number 3, Fakhr at 4. Then in your squad, you don't have any place for Usman probably, or
no, for Azam Khan. I don't want to see because behind the stumps with the bat, he's poor. And talk about New Zealand series, talk about Ireland series, now England series, he didn't perform well. And why I'm saying this, because you know that. And Kashif Bhai, if you are saying that he's okay with the spin and he struggles against fast bowling, but see the spinners, even the top-notch spinners, he cannot play with, if he doesn't play with the proper technique, that the spinners like Kuldeep Yadav, the spinners like Keshav Maharaj and Tabrez Shamsi, they won't allow him to hit freely. This is my point of view. And the second thing, Usman is much better than Azam Khan. So I think that I'll go with, and once again, we have Imad Wasim in the late down, and then of course with 3 fast bowlers. Now once again, the question is, either we'll go with Naseem Shah or Amir, because see their performances, Amir is better, Naseem Shah was pretty much off color last night, and as Umar was mentioning that his length was a question mark once again.
Yes, Kashif, you'd like to counter this argument as well.
For the opening slot, I think let's talk about the opposition first. When we talk about the opponents, we can draw our final 11 and even the opening slot. When we talk about the team having quality spinners, teams likes of India, most probably them, and then they have even for Bangladesh,
Sri Lanka, yes.
Sri Lanka, they have got some mystery spinners and the quality spinners. I still believe there is a chance for either Usman / Azam, either one of two can play. When we talk about team who are a pace battery friendly or heavy teams, I still believe England is much more a fast bowling team. The same applies to the Australia and same applies to the South Africa. For them, their superstars are their fast bowlers, and I still believe I can go with the Saim as in the opening slot play. So this is how, for me, horses for courses works. And as the middle order said, I still believe that as Fakhar Zaman has a lot to play in this World Cup, and he can be a key member in the Pakistani middle order. So this is how, for me, openers and the +3-4 number works.
Then that is based on opposition to opposition, obviously.
Yeah.
That becomes a case which is different for every playing scenario then, and I think conditions will have an impact on that as well. Umar, particularly your opening spot as well. Asif, like mentioned, and Kashif, of course, had a different opinion based on oppositions. Which do you think is your go-to opening right now for Pakistan?
Well, if we're playing, it depends on what we want to achieve. If Babar and Rizwan are tested and trial, you'll always get consistency. 8 out of 10 times you get a 50-run stand. But the question is at what rate? Bringing up Saim on the top of the order is to get a power play at 10s and 11s. And if Saim does that role fine, I think that's a good option. But if he loses his wicket early, we're back to again one down in pressure situation. We end up with 40-45 in the power play. And I think that gives us a step behind in the match. So either way, if we're going with Saim, I'm not against that. I really like that boy. He's fearless, he plays his shots, and if it pays off, it would be very good for Pakistan. But if not, if you're looking for a safe option, then Babar and Rizwan is there. But if you want to take that aggressive option, so yes, for sure, I will go with Saim at the top along with Babar Azam. The reason why is because they've been opening together for Peshawar Zalmi. The reason I'm giving an example of a league, again, I accept that there's no comparison with international cricket, but the chemistry is there. They've batted together, you understand each other, you complement each other. So they have played cricket together, so they both understand it as well. So I would rather go with, if you want to take the risky option, Saim and Babar. If you want to go for the safe option, then I'll go with Rizwan and Babar.
Right, certainly. Yes,
Ahmed, if you allow me, I'll ask this question to Kashif Bhai. As Kashif Bhai said that we'll see the opposition and we'll plan according to that. So if you are going with that and you do not have permanent options, it means that aren't you putting pressure on your players, giving them chance in one match, in next match, you're saying that you're not playing? This is my question.
Look, Yasir, it's professional cricket. And every player knows his strength. for Saim Ayub, the strength will be playing square of the wicket. Those no-look shots and those cuts and those pulls are square of the wicket. So it's just not the opposition. I can add one more thing. That is when we talk about those events which are played at 3 or 4 matches played at the same venue. The pitches, the center tends to shift towards rights or the lefts. Certain number of pitches are used. That can add the beauty of a right-hander and left-hander, because of a left-hander, the square leg boundary becomes a shorter one, and for a right-hander it becomes a longer one. So they can use this short boundary stuff as well. So I definitely wanted a left-hander right-hander combination going throughout those 20 overs. Coming back to your question, they're all professionals. They know their strengths, they know their weaknesses. So we can, even they themselves can come up to the captain that this team suits this player much better. Rizwan is a very good option when he asked that it's against the spinners, it's against Sri Lanka. Let's try Sarfraz for that matter, because he is more equipped to play spin than me, and he actually forfeited his place in the test team of the Pakistan. So this can be done. It's not a different thing. This has happened so many times with other teams. They've opted different opening options when it comes to the different bowling.
The other teams, they are already performing well. You know that when we talk about that as the cricket pundits and the former test cricketers, when they're taking the semi-finalists.
Yes.
So they're not taking Pakistan's name. So it means that they're settled down. They are okay with their combinations. We are talking about the Pakistan. Pakistan is struggling.
But I think that's the best case for us, Asif. When nobody considers us, we're always there. So that's the best case for Pakistan cricket.
Yeah.
So we are playing the finals then?
For me, you're winning the T20
yes,
World Cup.
oh, yes.
I think for me that it's plain simple. Even the chairman's asked for patience for 1 month, and we're bringing back the cup. But it's very different. Asif, if I can, ask you as well, that if I look at the squad selection, because of Azam Khan's selection, what you've done is you don't have any diversity in the middle order. Now, like you mentioned, let's suppose Pakistan go with the traditional playing 11 of Saim, Rizwan opening, Babar at 3, Fakhr at 4. And if we say that Azam is not playing, then you don't have any other, diverse option in the middle order. Had you taken Salman Ali Agha, you would have had an option in the middle order. Had you taken somebody else, for that fact, you would have had an option in the middle order. But now you're stuck in a conundrum where it looks like that the only options you have are with the opening or top order, nothing in the middle order, and that's where Pakistan is struggling the most.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to say, that Pakistan cannot go for the experiences. We are already in trouble, and you know that middle order is not performing well. Iftikhar, once again, if you have watched his last night's shot, that was again, he was playing across the line. That was an overpitch delivery, a length delivery. He could have played with the straight bat. Even Naseem Shah played against Chris Wokes, I think.
Mark Wood.
Mark Wood against. And that was a very good shot. And the fielder was inside the circle, and he played with the straight bat. So I think if Naseem Shah is understanding the situations that was going on and how to make the runs, why not Iftikhar? Why not Fakhr Zaman? Why not other batters? So I think, and this is what Nasir Hussain mentioned in the commentary as well, that after hitting 2 sixes against Afghanistan, now his confidence is so high, and he always tried to hit the ball with the straight bat, because those 2 sixes were right over the bowler's head.
The only thing that I think that develops confidence is when you're striking the ball well. I think that really happens.
See, when Iftikhar got out, that was the time that we required Iftikhar's 40 not out, 45 not out, so Pakistan could reach 170, 80. I'm not saying either you're winning or losing. It's not the question. Question is that you are playing full hours and you're playing even with your full confidence.
We're talking about that confidence of striking the ball, or needing some imperative runs. I can easily say that everybody is not Ramesh Sati. It's only him who can pull that out of nowhere and hit those 3 sixes.
By the way, which match you're talking about?
No.
It's not the final.
It's not the final. It's not the final. It was one of the games that we enjoyed. But Umar, particularly about Azam Khan, I think yesterday's not just the performance, but even the visual display of it was absolutely frustrating. I could see a person who's, I think, not content with himself right now, who understands that his position is on the line. There is immense pressure on him. I mean that that failure in batting transcended into the wicket keeping, which could have been more better.
Well, not even with the bat, even with the gloves, he missed 3 opportunities, and in the World Cup, even one single missed opportunity can cost you a lot. So there's no argument in the fact that Rizwan is a much better keeping option, but if Azam Khan isn't in the 11, so it's better to hide him behind the stumps than to any other spot. With the bat, yes, it was disappointing, but in the previous programs, as my fellow described, that he won't be good enough against the pacey bouncers in these conditions, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. He was clueless on Mark's good pace and short ball. He couldn't. I doubt that he even saw the ball. but it won't be the same as we're repeating again and again, West Indies and USA. But it's a big risk because his role is the 5 to 10 ball game changing role. If you want to take that risk, so if it pays off, you'll get a better result. But if not, you'll just lose a wicket for less runs, and then you have a fielding disadvantage as well. So if Azam Khan doesn't play, so can we play Usman at number 6? That is another question, because we've seen these different games, even in the T10 format, that the games are now 10 overs. So why not change this mentality of 20 overs into 2 sets of 10 over sets? That first top 3, top 4 batsmen have a role to play in the first 10 overs, and then a 4 to 5 set of batsmen have a role to play in the last 10 overs. So I think if Azam is dropped, we can experiment with Usman at number 5 and 6 because he's a proper batsman. He has technique, he can rotate the strike, he can hit the big shots, and he can hit sixes at will as well. So if Azam is dropped, I would likely and happy to see Usman at number 6.
Certainly. Let's just, I'll ask my team if you can have the visuals on full screen and we can see some of the dismissals that Pakistan has gone through. It's in that highlight package that you're seeing on your screens now. If you can just have that on full screen. So, we can, Kashif, me, you and Asif and of course Umar can analyze this well as well. This is just the late charge that we saw from Johnny Bairstow and Harry Brook. It was absolutely, I think, carnage the way it happened, the way England won by 7 wickets. And of course, the mode of dismissals, Kashif, is very important because what England did was probably mark our players. It wasn't an accidental way that they got wickets or they were bowling well, but they had marked, for example, like we talked about. Now, this is the first one that we see, Babar was playing really well, his traditional shots, but then again, his dismissal, this one right here.
I guess it's the favorite shot of the Babers. Just dab it towards the third man when the third man is in the circle. Unfortunate that went in there, and then we have got okay. This was the one thing we are talking about in his entire career.
The pace,
yes. The pace on the body, it's just not there for the taking when it comes to Azam Khan. Iftikhar's dismissal, he always tried to hit very hard. It's just not the case of timing the ball over the fence. It's always the case of hitting ball very hard. And this time around, it's an off cutter which just got big on him or with just slightest of the bounce and he couldn't middle it. So most probably this is how Iftikhar plays. This is how he hit those sixes against Wahab Riaz, and this is how he got out so many times. And this is his role in the team. And yesterday's match is again a testament to one thing. That team has decided they'll be going hard on the English bowlers. They don't want to play 20 overs. They'll be going just hard. They want to go and just
express themselves,
hit the ball long, and that is it. So most probably when 2 or 3 were down, and if it was a World Cup match, the 4 or 5 down players could have taken their time and took it to the 17th, 18th over for those logs thing. But yesterday they were just trying to go hard. So again, these warm-up matches or these series played just before the World Cups, they couldn't tell the original story, original script of the World Cup match. This is the experimentation script that if we stuck in a situation like that, can we do this? Because we know historically, just recent history, that batting first is just not our strength. Batting second, we can chase those things. Yes, I can say with the proud feeling that in the history of Pakistan, we are a good chaser now. So, but batting first, this is not our strength. So this is one case maybe where they're trying to express and score 200 runs batting first. So again, my still hope remains that the T20 World Cup will be an entirely different thing. And I can say one thing more when it comes to the fast bowlers. Yesterday, I see them performing to their 100%. Before that, they were just coming in, bending the shape of the ball, just checking the rest of position of their on the seam and nothing else. But yesterday they were bending their backs and they were trying to bowl fast. So again, now they are coming into their groove, leading towards the T20 World Cup. And with Gary Kirsten there, I think they know how to win World Cups.
Absolutely. I do sincerely hope that that's the case as well. And I understand where Umar also mentions, 2 sets of 10s, the way the planning should be executed right now as well. But of course, we, shift the focus to the World Cup as well. We've had some interesting warm-up games. West Indies were absolutely in World Cup mode, the way they are. They've announced themselves once again against Australia, although it was a warm-up fixture. We had Sri Lanka on the losing end against Netherlands. Namibia got some game time. Uganda had some game time as well. All of these teams are coming up the ranks as well. So, Asif, generally, if we talk about the World Cup, if we just don't focus on Pakistan only, generally because there's so much diversity and a game of T20 cricket is always, where we say that the teams become balanced at the end, even if you're very strong on paper. That means that, with this diversity and with the competition coming up, it's not just about, the chance of, you'll start late in a World Cup. You have to win every single game now.
Well, that's right. I mean, that you'd have to give you 100% in each game. And when we talk about the shorter format T20 cricket, do remember that Pakistan lost against Zimbabwe in the very first edition of T20 World Cup. Australia lost against Zimbabwe and South Africa. So I think that when you're giving 100% on that day, on the game day, I think that you could change the scenario. And that's why no one is taking Pakistan's name. But once again, that the four other teams, even no one is taking the West Indies name. And then the cricket pundits and the cricket experts are just talking about either from the India, from Australia, from South Africa. They're just taking England, Australia, South Africa and India. These four teams. Even that the South Africans, they're the big chokers. But this time, as Kashif Bhai was discussing about their pace battery, see their fast bowling, see that. But I think still West Indies, for me, I don't see that they will surprise us. Why? Because that still things are going on, that they're very good in franchise cricket. When we talk about the international cricket or international T20 cricket, see right after the Darren Sammy, they didn't perform well. And their team is struggling, going down day by day. Maybe they're playing in the home and they could do something better. And if you see their squad, they have very good, talk about the hitters. Yes, they have very good hitters as well. But once again, it's not about one or two hitters. It's an 11 members team, and each and every player definitely should play the role. So in that scenario, once again, if you see the Indians team, you see the Australian team, and complete teams. And Kashif Bhai, we're still in the phase of experiments. But all the teams, they have announced their squads. They're pretty much sure
I'll say that I think that ship has sailed now of experiments. I still like it when Pakistan is going with zero expectations and unpredictables. That's when the magic happens. Whenever there has been planning, I would, clearly remember, if we all remember the match where, in Zamam's last one day for Pakistan as skipper against Ireland, that was a match that Pakistan had planned and that went horribly wrong. So, things have been on the other end, but I agree with Asif. I think that this is right now a World Cup where you need to be spot on. Your planning, execution, everything needs to be very, very particular. This is not a T20 World Cup like in the past that, you could just go and believe in lady luck to help you win games. Umar, your thought on the diversity of the World Cup and the amount of teams that are coming up as improved sides now?
Well, it's wonderful. The teams have increased, and that, of course, brings in a lot of interest globally. And having this World Cup in USA in itself will open a lot of interest for the US audience as well, because they're mostly used to the baseball and the soccer and the rugby, but now they'll be acquainted more with cricket as well. And about the teams, for all these teams, which are the non-playing test nations, the associate teams, they wait 4 years for this. They wait 2 years for this. That way they play a World Cup and they can go out and express themselves. They have nothing to lose. The pressure comes on the test playing nations who are playing against them, and that's where they get upset. So we've seen England lose to Ireland multiple times. My fellow here mentioned the Zimbabwe game against Pakistan. Then Australia and the inaugural T20 World Cup were a disaster. So it's very much fun to see some guy come in and just change the game. And this is what T20 cricket is all about. It changes so rapidly that you can't plan. And me personally, I love to see these underdogs perform, and I love upsets. It's good for the game, and it's exciting.
I think we're the underdogs, Umar.
Well, of course, we are always the underdogs, but that's the best part, because every time Pakistan, if you see any tournament that Pakistan have won, we were striked out. And any tournament where we were the favorites, we have lost. So it's better that we start low. It's better that we're cornered. It's better that we're striked out. That's when we'll perform. And it's better that we focus on other teams rather than Pakistan. I think that's where the Pakistan team will surprise us in a positive way and not shock us.
Certainly, I agree, Umar. Thank you very much for joining us, and very pertinently put by Umar as well. I think that has been the case for Pakistan cricket over the years. But I like the fact that we're underdogs. I think when nobody has us in the equation, we tend to shine up. So I think Umar's right. Apart from Pakistan silently, we should on the front also pick one non-test playing nation as well. So, you know, just for the sake of it. I like the fact that David Wiese is still in the World Cup. I like the fact that Uganda is coming up for the very first time. A lot of diversity going in, and you never know what these teams can do on a fine day. Netherlands is also there. So anything can happen, and the host USA, they seem to be in great form. They let Bangladesh know that they are. So hopefully anything can happen. But Kashif and Asif, thank you very much to you gentlemen for joining us as well. Of course, that wraps up Sports Extra. But before we go, we've got the World Cup anthem for you as well. You can take a look and a listen to that. But for me and the entire team, it's goodbye for now.